good evening, and welcome to Tea Time.
Okay, sorry about that. You're on.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. It is Monday. It is April 4th, first week in April. I'm so excited. I'm going to talk about my weekend real quick and then get to my show. As you can see, I don't have guests in studio tonight. My guests are actually out of studio, and I'm excited because I actually have two guests tonight. I have one in Boston and one in Florida, so I'm very excited. But let me talk about my weekend really quick. Friday night, I went to my girlfriend Kim's 50th birthday party. It was a 50th masquerade party, and everyone had to wear black. You heard of like all white party. This was an all black party. You had to wear a mask. It was great. We had a great time. We sang, we danced, and we were just loving on each other. We had a great time. That was Friday night. Had a total blast. And my girlfriend Grace from the Boogie Down Bronx came. She stayed over my house. We hung out on Saturday a little bit. And then Sunday, I was, laundry day, and I'm learning lines. I'm learning lines because this weekend, I have a couple of things going on, right, Bobby? I have a couple of things that are going to pop up on the screen. This Thursday, I'm performing stand-up comedy at MERS in Farmingdale. So if you have nothing to do this Thursday night, there it is, comedy with Graz, and a bunch of other people are going to be at that show. Tickets are $20. So if you're not doing anything Thursday night, come on down and see me. And then this Saturday, I am reprising a role of Rosella from the longest running murder mystery mob show in Manhattan, and it's called Murdered by the Mob. And there it is. I'll be performing Saturday night as Rosella. I'm coming back as Rosella. I'll be putting on a gray wig and looking like the mobster's widow that night. And if you want tickets, you could go to www.murderedbythemob.com. Come on to Manhattan and come see me. It is a fun show. It's very interactive with the audience, and it's a whodunit, and it's really fun. All right, that was my weekend. Oh, and also I want to just mention Coaster's Tavern. Every Monday night, they do an open mic. Okay, Monday through Friday, they do a happy hour from noon to 7 p.m. On Tuesdays, they have poker night. And on this Friday, they're having a Beatles band. They're having a Beatles cover band with free admission. Hello, East Meadow. East Meadow on Newbridge Road. Coasters. All right, let me get to my guests. I'm so excited. My first guest up is Stu Rep. I'm going to say it slow. I'm messing it up, Stu. Stu Rep. I forgot how to say the last part. Oh my God. Reb Logel. Okay. He's an actor. He's a writer. He's a director. Oh, please forgive me, Stu. We went over this before we started. He's originally from Garden City. I want to welcome Stu to the show because we need to find out more about him, and you need to find out more about him. Hi, Stu.
Hey, Teresa.
Oh my God. Say your last name for everybody.
Rep Logel.
Rep Logo, and I wrote it down. Rep Logo. Hello. What is wrong with me? It's Monday.
My kids still get it wrong. It's okay.
Stu is originally from Garden City. You went to Garden City High School, but in your senior year, you moved to Boston.
Right, to Cohasset.
So yeah, you went to Cohasset High School.
There you go. Yeah, I went K through 11th grade in New York and Long Island. Garden City, I still consider my hometown.
Yeah. And
It's
then Boston was a little bit of an adjustment, no?
yeah. Well, anywhere, being I really didn't want to move. I had a lot of friends. I was in, theater. I was, thinking of getting into a band. We were talking about that, and then suddenly it was like, up to Massachusetts. But it's beautiful up here. So I sort of get the best of both worlds because I still get down to New York on occasion. And my son at one point went to Adelphi, which
Uh-huh.
is right there. I had friends at Hofstra, so I still get down to Long Island any excuse I can.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Well, I have to say, you also, well, when you were going to school, what were you studied film at Denison University after high school?
Yeah, that's correct. Probably the bigger the guy who came in after me was a freshman when I was a senior was Steve Carell. So everyone knows Steve.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, it's got a really great film department. I was a theater and a film major. Some fantastic talent came out of there. Jennifer Garner, who was in the '90s after I graduated, and Hal Holbrook was another guy who I admired who went there. So they have a strong program.
Wow.
Yeah, and I loved film, way back then, and I just stuck with it.
What kind of movies did you like watching back then?
Well, I love your intro because we watched a ton of Hitchcock. My
Uh-huh.
professor Elliot Stout was a huge Hitchcock fan, so we saw tons of Hitchcock. I was more the new school. I tried to get him into things like The Godfather, which wasn't out that long, and he was like, "That's not classic," and I'm, trying to argue it's the greatest film ever made.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. 50 years. It's 50 years old.
yeah, and I still love it. It's still, if it's not my favorite, that and number two, they're in my top 10 always.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
goes without
yeah,
saying.
yeah. So
So yeah, it
you
was,
you were very into video making things. You actually owned something called Video Occasions for a long time. You owned it from like 1983 to like 2012.
yeah, I got out of college and, I did a lot of freelance too. I was a stringer for, various cable network shows and did some writing and producing with my brother with radio. But I ultimately just, there wasn't a lot of films being made in Massachusetts as there are now. So
Right,
I had
right.
to sort of make my own opportunity. I knew I liked video was the new thing. I was managing a big video store. And so I thought I started, buying cameras and said, I'm going to just go out and start doing this. And yeah, I did everything, did weddings. I did all sorts of functions. I did commercials and how-to videos and training videos and, just about anything. So
That's
it,
cool. That's
yeah,
cool. And did you travel a lot with that?
not a lot. No, I stayed pretty local. The times when I traveled, there was one time where I took a year and did this whole thing and that had to do with ad agencies. And we traveled to all over the West Coast, Chicago, down to Florida where Bruce is. And, that was fun. The other times were like mostly New England. I did some charitable events,
Yeah.
tried to do stuff like, a Bill Murray was, a lot of charity things where Big People for Cancer Society, which I'm a big,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
part of
before
that,
I forget, I have to say happy anniversary. It is your wedding anniversary today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank your
Yeah,
beautiful wife for, sharing you for this 55 minutes with me.
well, thanks. Yeah, I had a cocktail too, so I hope I don't slur my words, but I
Oh,
got
that's
to get
great.
one
Yes,
glass of
cheers.
wine.
And many, 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 many more. That's
Thank
great.
you.
You joined the Screen Actors Guild in 2012.
Yeah, that was a long time in coming because once you join, it's a great thing, and I'm so honored to be a part of the Screen Actors Guild. It has a lot of great perks. Just for an instance, when I come down to New York, oftentimes it's because SAG extends an invite to see something like I was front row for the DiCaprio The Revenant and Scorsese was there and the director was there. Those are great things. They're like private screenings I didn't get to make it to Spielberg with West Side Story this year, but
Right.
that's an example of, it's really just a wonderful perk.
It's a nice perk. It's a
Yeah.
really nice
But
perk.
prior to that, I mean, my first film was Witches of Eastwick back in like 80,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it had been a long time. I mean, you have to earn your waivers, or, but also even the background stuff. I always felt like I was learning stuff because I was always watching the camera guys, or what's the director doing with that star. If you can kind of eavesdrop and go, oh wow, that was important. What
Right.
they said
Right.
to to
Yeah.
social.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why we all do it. I know you do film as well, and that's part of the process. It's always, if you're always learning, some people will sit there on their phones. That's typically, I try to avoid that.
Right, right. I know
Especially,
I like to be a sponge. I like to try to observe, see what's going on. I like to watch basically, what everyone's doing also. I think it's important, especially when you want to do other things later on in life and you're picking up stuff from here and you're picking up stuff from here and then you're putting it together in your own little, mix.
right. I mean, observation is a key to a lot of fields, but especially if you're acting, you have to constantly be observing all your surroundings, and that's what great actors do. I remember watching Christian Bale, who's like tremendous. He was
Oh,
on
yeah.
American Hustle with this
Yeah.
awful looking comb over, and he would go off to the corner and he would just really focus. And it was one of those things. Don't get near him because you could see he was in his zone. But
Yeah.
it's really fun to watch actors, each respective actor, go through their process.
Yeah, because everyone's so different. Everyone's so different,
Totally.
Absolutely. Well, you started back in 2012. You did a bunch of shorts. You did a bunch of indies. 2015 you did a TV series called The Devil You Know.
Yeah, that was strange because it never made the air, and that was directed by Gus Van Sant, who did Good Will Hunting. So I thought, oh wow, and I only had a really bit thing in it. It was, and I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about it. I don't know how the NDAs go, but
Right.
it was interesting. I know I can say this much: we were around a campfire and we were taken hostage by Native Americans, and it was like below zero in real snow outside at like 3 in the morning. We were
Wow.
so cold. And yeah, it was a really interesting scene. It was, I think, so graphic in some ways that they didn't put it on.
Maybe,
All I know.
or maybe they couldn't change, the rating for it.
Could be, it was, wasn't in certain scenes, but I had heard that they did a scene in a church that was rather,
Mm,
controversial. So I don't know enough to speak about it,
yeah.
but I think that was one of the reasons that it may not have been picked up. I can't imagine because I believe Gus Van Sant also directed some Sopranos episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So the guy's amazing.
Yeah, you figured when there's a big name behind it like that, you figured most of the time it's a sure thing.
Right. Right. But I guess you never know.
You never know. You never know. You never
Right.
know. I mean, look, the Oscars were last week, and I talked about last week how Coda, he's an indie film, right?
With John Fiore, who's our lead.
Correct. John
Yeah.
Fiore, who's the lead in your movie we're going to discuss.
Right.
And this is an indie film on Apple TV, directed by a woman. And unfortunately, it was overshadowed by something else. But it was, I mean, it just makes it makes me feel proud to be part of an indie family.
Right.
To know that I've done indie films. I will be doing indie films. I don't say no to anything, Stu. I
Right.
really don't.
You shouldn't.
Listen, it is in my bones and my soul. I eat, sleep, and breathe acting, and this is all I want to do. And I had conversations with you, and I think Bruce in the past, that getting paid is a cherry on top. Yes,
Right.
I'd love to make a career out of this, absolutely. But a friend asked me, he said, I'm doing something. It's funny. It's almost like an SNL skit. Would you do it for me? And I'm like, yes, I'll do it for you, because I read it and it made me laugh out loud, which takes a lot for a comic to laugh out loud. But it was funny. It was smart. And it has to do with Long Island, which is really cool. And I said, sure, I'll do it, because it's just, for me, I'm doing something for a friend. It's more experience than I get. And you're opening up your mind and your experiences to other characters and different ways of doing stuff, whether it's method or Meisner or whatever. It's just
Right.
I want to be a
You're working, and you never know what might become of it. Some friends of mine, in the right circumstance, I'll still do background because,
Yes.
here's for instance, Meryl Streep on, Little Women. I wasn't seeing, I'm a blur, but to get to watch her
Yes.
do her thing.
I was supposed to,
when
was it 2 weeks ago, I was supposed to be on the set of Out of Order with Brooke Shields. And it was background and it was for an entire week. And I said, yes, I'll do it.
Jody. Yeah, my friend Jody Purdy was casting that.
She called me, we spoke, and Bruce had told me about it, and my friend Ray told me about it, and I was so psyched. And unfortunately, 2 or 3 weeks before that, I got COVID for the second time.
Oh.
And I told her, I said, well, my rapid came back negative. She said, the PCR came back positive. I can't let you on set. And I was crushed. Because a lot of people I know were on the set. And you know what? I just have to look at it that it wasn't meant to be. And that something else is around the corner for me.
Exactly.
Because the doctor said to me, you can test positive up to like 90 days. He says, I could give you a note saying you're not contagious. And I said, they won't take your note, but I appreciate it.
Well, it's such a cautious, we've been so cautious in this industry.
Yes.
And that's something that, we can speak to later for our own indie about having to go through COVID during the production. But, back to, there's so many reasons, just as you said, to work. It doesn't matter whether it's, I love doing sketch comedy too. I used to be in an improv. Well, it's more of a sketch comedy group called Voices in Our Heads, that was such fun. It's like, because you're stretching yourself, if you just stay in one place, it's like any business or any occupation, the more you can broaden your horizons within your field.
Absolutely. Well, talking about broaden our horizons, I have to broaden my horizon and I have to go to my first break. So everyone stay where you are. Don't go away. More when we come back with Stu. Stay right there. So where do you want to go tonight?
Are you bored?
Oh my God.
Hold on tight. We're gonna coast this.
Well, hi there, Teresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Teresa. Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me. Okay, I'm with Stu Rep Logo.
There you go.
Repogo. I'm going to keep saying it over and over now. He is an actor, writer, director. I'm so excited that he's here. He's in Boston, originally from Garden City. I want to thank John York from General Hospital for those kind words. I want to thank Frank Faiella is watching, and Liz is watching, and Arthur's watching, and everyone's watching, and Mickey Delaney. Everyone, please like the show. Please share it. I want to remind everybody that Tea Time is on every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on Channel 20 for people on Long Island who get Optimum. So you can see this show every Saturday morning. I am with Stu Rep Logo, and again, actor, writer, director, and we have a mutual friend that I want to bring in now. Bruce Socia is going to join us. Hi, Bruce. How you doing? You have to unmute yourself. Are you unmuted?
How's that?
Hey, now I can hear you, my friend.
Hi,
So
guys.
let me introduce you to everybody. Bruce is an actor, and he is also an executive producer. Bruce and I have a lot of mutual friends, and we actually met in person in Philly when he and I worked on Recipes for Love together, which is a sitcom, and hopefully we're going to be back for season 2, and we're going to be there in June for the premiere. I'm very excited. So Bruce and Stu know each other, and I want to know, Bruce, you're in Florida, but you also travel a lot to Boston, and somehow you connected with Stu. So tell me how you and Stu connected.
Well, it goes a little further back than that. So I'm originally from New England myself, just like
Right.
Stu. More
Yes.
specifically, I'm from the Providence, Rhode Island area. So I worked a lot in the last few years in the Boston market, and I was living there as well. I just moved to Florida in this past year.
Right.
So when I first got into acting in my 40s, my young 40s, I met Stu along the way, and I said, what a great guy, creative, super fun. We hit it right off. And I got really excited when, outside of the big studio projects that we were working on together, he had asked me and invited me to come work on a few of his short films. And I was blown away by how creative and thoughtful this guy is. Man, I can't wait for you guys to see this project we did together, because he really is. I think I'm his number one fan. I can't say enough about
And
what a creative guy. He really is. He's a really incredible actor. His writing skills are uncomparable, and I think it's a long overdue for him to get to a bigger stage to showcase his talents and ability. And I'm glad to be here on the show with you to kind of talk a little bit.
I appreciate you giving me the exclusive and first interview, both of you. Well, the movie is called The Family's Feud.
That's right.
And you, and there you are. I love the swag. I love the swag. And Stu and you were nice enough to invite me to the private screening of the movie.
That's right.
And I was in Jersey last week. Bobby just put up the poster. I was in Jersey last week. And Bruce, you weren't there, but Stu was, along with Paul Borghese and Artie Pasquale. And I have to say, I loved it. It was very, very funny. Made me laugh. There's a lot of references to other mob films. So if you're a mob film fan, you'll get it.
Oh, yeah.
And so you went in on it. You executive producer.
So we're co-executive producers, just to clarify that. So Stu originally brought me on, and like what he was doing at the time was just putting some really cool short films together, and we were having a lot of fun. And I got to play in one or two of them, and then he got to this one that he actually had already made this short film, and he wanted to revisit it, and he really had such an eye and ear for this genre, and his vision of, I'll let the cat out of the bag. It's what we did. What he did was he wrote a really creative intertwined story where you take our favorite genre of the mob movies and the action and drama and all the comedy that comes with that alone, but intertwined it with some real deal funny backwoods hillbilly redneck hunters. And man, nobody could do it like Stu. I can't sing his praises enough.
And Stu plays a hillbilly, and you play a mobster.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Wi-Fi. I don't know, but I
Stu was
like.
great, man.
Oh,
Was really good.
he was fantastic. You're both fantastic in it. Everyone's fantastic in it. What's really, really cool about it is that a lot of friends that I know are in it. A lot of
Friends of
people,
ours.
a lot of friends of ours, and a lot of people I've had on the show. You have John Fior as the lead in the movie. He's going to be coming on in a few weeks. Willie DeMayo's in it. Joe DiNaprio I've had on. Peter Gordio I've had on. Paul Borghese I've had on. Artie Pasquale not yet. Chris Cerrone maybe. Al Sapienza's in it. Tony Darrow. Federico Castelluccio. I mean, this is an incredible cast for anyone who's seen A Bronx Tale or Goodfellas or The Sopranos. I mean, this is, an A-list.
It is, especially for our specific demographic that we know and we love. And we also realize that, the mob genre gets beat to death. There's a million people, even right now as we speak, making some kind of mobster or wise guy content. And that's cool and that's great. But, like Stu mentioned earlier, a lot of the great ones and the classics, there are a lot of tips of the hat to those movies. And that's all thanks to Stu. He wrote a lot of really cool innuendos and respectfully gave credit where it's due to those classics that we draw so much inspiration from. And you saw it yourself, Teresa. I think, for a couple of guys that tried our best to scramble together a cast and a crew and locations during the height of the pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say enough about the whole overall team effort that was put in to pull this together. And with Stu being the leader and really writing one hell of a piece. And then, like I started saying earlier, he basically said to me, hey, you want to do this short film? And he sent me over the script. And I don't remember, Stu, how many pages it was originally, but it was, enough for a short film, maybe 30 pages or something, if I remember correct. People send me shit all the time. I'm not going to lie. And he sent me the script and I ate it up because I know how creative he is. A lot of times I tell people, yeah, I'll read it. And to be honest, it's hard to find the time of the day. But when he sends me something, I stop everything and I read it because he really is that good.
Right.
So I got a hell of a kick out of it. And I said, I called him back. I said, Stu, not only do I want to be in this, but man, I want to help you. And I want to be a part of, on the bigger stage. And I said, give me a day or two to round up some troops. And he was like, well, what do you mean? I said, just give me a day or two. I have an idea.
Yeah.
And I kind of went a little crazy behind the scenes and I just started calling around my boys in New York.
Right.
And next thing you know, literally within 24 hours, I was already back in the horn with Stu, like, you'll never guess. You got this guy and that guy. And I said, can I send them the script? And he's like, yeah, send it out. And we both shared the excitement.
Yeah.
And, I think between his creative writing and the charisma that we shared about the project, we really were able to, pull in some great names. And especially I got to give credit to Joe D'Onofrio, Willie DeMayo, and Paul Borghese, especially because those guys initially were like the first couple of phone calls I made, and they kind of spread the word like wildfire. And I said, hey, Stu wants this guy for this character and that. And I said to Stu, give me your wish list and I'll do my best to try to reel them in.
Well, you sure did. You sure did, Bruce. Let me tell you.
Yeah, we're really very, I think I can speak for Stu and I that we're very proud of the team we pulled together. And the characters that he wrote were so insanely creative that it really gave those actors a chance to portray not, your typical run-of-the-mill, serious, tough guy, wise guys. They all got to be wacky and over the top. And they were excited. They couldn't, when they read the script, they shared the same enthusiasm that Stu and I did. And that was great. And we carried that tune or that tone throughout the whole production. It was a 15-day shoot, and every day on set, we were kind of applauding each other and standing ovations. And
nice when you're each other's cheerleaders, that makes it even better. Stu, I have to ask you, how did you come up with this idea? And was it way before COVID? Did you come up with this 10 years ago and put it on the side, or how did it all come to be?
Well, I'm always writing stuff and jotting down notes and putting them aside. There's one coupon that I use that you might remember.
Yeah, the $2.99. Yeah,
I held on honestly since 2002, saying someday I'm going to write this into a script. So, ideas just come. In this case, I had done, as Bruce said, like a 5-6 minute short called The Real Bigfoot. And it was about wise guys out in the woods, hoods in the woods, and had a different ending. It was pretty funny and people really liked it. So a lot of people, including Bruce, said, you should make something bigger on this one. We could get better people and really expand on it. And I thought, yeah, that's not a bad idea. So that's what we did. And I rounded up mostly the New England locals, including all the guys who were in it were in the film, other than one guy who had to back out for another film.
Okay.
But then, and then Bruce helped me to corral all these other great guys, like, as you said, Louis Beneri and William DeMeo and Joe.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, Louis. Louis, I had him on the show. Louis Veneria. I'm sorry.
Awesome.
I apologize.
That's why I said that, because I
know
knew you meant to say
I did not mean to leave him out, but if I don't write it down, hello.
Everyone loves Louis. I know you got to probably break away because I see the time, right?
No, I just wanted to ask you real quick before we go to break. How hard was it? Because this is your first full-length feature, right? I mean, I don't think you ever wrote anything this long.
Well, I have. I wrote a full. I've written several.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Okay,
no,
all
but,
right.
but nothing that's ever been produced. I close with like a suspense horror film,
right?
That didn't get made. But yeah, this was the first, and it was Bruce's idea to take it to a feature. We started. I wrote 43 pages. It became 76. We ended up we're almost in almost 2 hours.
Wow. Yeah, it's an hour 47, right? Something like that.
I gotta interject. So the funny thing was I kept calling Stu saying, you gotta write more, and he's in his glory because he loves to write. But one of the things I gotta say, Stu is so good on the fly. We'd have these quick, creative sessions where we jam out on the phone and he'd go, hey, and then I can have this guy do this and that. And I'd be like, yeah. And we just kind of encourage. And I was kind of just there to say, yeah, do it. And he just come up with this stuff at the drop. I mean, this guy is amazing.
And that's where the improv comes in, right, Stu?
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah, to a great degree. And also, look, I was flattered, for instance, to give a good for instance. Paul Borghese joined us. I'd seen him in many things. I was a fan. I thought, oh, this is wonderful. And then Paul took me aside before he came up. I think he called me and said, look, could you write me a second scene? I like what you got. I'd like to have one more scene, if you don't mind. I said, I'd be honored. And that scene is one of my favorites now towards the end,
Yes.
So it just, same thing. We added Al Sapienza, who was wonderful, brought with him Deborah Renard, who was unexpected.
Yes.
So the night before they came, I wrote in her part.
Wow.
So that's how on the fly. Yeah, we did it on the fly to a great degree.
So cool. Well, talk about the fly. I got to fly to my next break. So we're going to do that. But you stay right there. Everyone stay where you are. I'm having a great time. I'm with two men at the same time. We'll be right back after these messages.
All right.
So where do you want to go tonight?
Are you bored?
Oh my God.
Hold on tight. We're gonna coast this.
Welcome to Sunday Dinner with Chef Clemente. This is an all-new show about family cooking, Sunday dinner, things we did as a child, bringing back some memories and some tradition. This is how this dish was born. I'm going to show you that in just a couple of minutes. So, the trick with the meatballs, too, when you fry them, you don't want to overcrowd the pan too much. A drizzle, not too much of olive oil, right on top of that fish. So, a little flour. A little egg, cella luna, met somebody, everybody drink some wine. Everything's still going. Pass them around, everybody eat a little bit. Come on, you gotta dance. Oh my God! Oh. Get your mother, your sister, your cousin. Bring some pastry, some food, get together, eat, drink, be happy. Who wants some linguine, clams, and pastry?
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Teresa Canastraci Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Teresa on Facebook. Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love it. Hey, am I back? Am I back? How's everyone doing? I'm not used to the StreamYard. Listen, I'm with Bruce Socia and Stu, Rep Logo. Hey! And they are both actors. They are both executive producers of this movie, The Family's Feud. We're going to show the clip right now. Bobby's going to play it. Let's play the clip, the trailer. We're going to play the trailer. When we come back, we'll talk about it.
Speak. It's Vinny. You there?
No, I'm f***ing over there.
The name's Angelo D'Angelo. Some know me as Don Angelo, one of the bosses of New York's infamous 5 families. Perhaps you heard of the other 4. Nicky Knuckles Gardino.
I'm gonna get it right here, you sucker.
Mario the Mangler Mancini.
F*** you, Sonny.
Lucky Luigi Lucano.
As much as I hate that f***ing prick, Sonny.
And finally, that motherless Sonny Green.
I love all of you guys.
Get the f*** out of here.
I only ask that you guys turn the other way when the hammer comes down on this f***ing jerk-off Angelo.
Yeah, that's right. He wants me whacked. To make matters worse, some of my crew on business up in Maine crossed paths with some backwoods Bigfoot hunting hillbilly bastards.
What's going on here, then?
We're about to lay our dear departed friend to rest.
That was very good friend and jumbo trash bag.
Who also figured they'd start a feud.
I'm calling bullshit.
Now the bullets are flying and lots of good fellas are dying.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
Hey, get me!
Hey, fellas. My name's Bonnie Lou. I'm Honeydew. You can call me Bunny Sue.
So grab a weapon.
We gotta get this party started right now.
Pick a side.
I should have shot you in the damn face.
You suck. This could get ugly.
It worked, didn't it?
I love it. Oh, man, it's so good. It's so good. Listen, I want everyone to know they can go to thefamiliesfeud.com. You could find everything there. There's so much more information. But I want to talk to you guys because you're going to be premiering this in Boston on April 14th. How exciting is that?
Very cool. Excited. Yeah, we're really excited. We share the bill with another film that sounds really interesting. I don't know what the exact story is, but it's called The Walk, and it features, among other people, Jeremy Piven, Terrence Howard, and Malcolm McDowell, who I loved in A Clockwork Orange. He's iconic. So we're thrilled to be sharing the bill. And again, we'll have John Fiore there from Coda, and I believe Bruce is coming up. Last I heard,
I'm coming.
I want to try.
We'll both be there, and we're trying to get Chris Cerrone to fly in, who, for those who don't know, played, among other things, young Henry Hill.
Yes,
Goodfellas, great guy. And hopefully some surprises. We've still got a couple of weeks, but we're very much looking forward to it. Yeah,
it's very exciting. It's really, really, really exciting. To have a big premiere, especially in Boston, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But again, if everyone wants to go to thefamiliesfeud.com, they can go there. I also want you to know that you can follow Bruce, actor Bruce Socia. It's SOSCIA on Insta, and then also The Family's Feud is also on Insta. So these are places that you can go and check everything out.
Right? Can I just add quickly?
You can add whatever you want, baby. Go ahead.
What we really are hoping too, we are entered into Tribeca. It's a long shot. We're just a low budget indie, but I think
you never know.
Well, there, given the fact that it's Bobby De Niro's backyard, and I love to analyze this, analyze that. It's in that vein.
Yes,
it's not that good. Okay, it's not De Niro, but we tried. So.
Who's the one actor you would really love to work with, Stu?
Oh, good question. I've worked with really, really amazing. I think the guy I would most, I've never worked with Pacino, but I've met him. Okay. I've been on set with De Niro twice, but not in any scenes with him. So, and Nicholson was my first movie, so I got to witness him in action. So those are among my favorites. The guy who I've never worked with that I would really love to, honestly, is Brad Pitt. I think he's phenomenal. Yeah, big fan.
What about you, Bruce?
Well, I think I'm very close with Stu's choices, so I don't want to steal his answer. You already stole mine. I'm a huge Pacino fan, but I'm also a Leonardo DiCaprio fan. And but ultimately, you asked who I would like to work with, who I haven't. But if I could work with someone again, it would be Stu. I want to work with Stu again.
All right, that's enough.
Well, you know what, Bruce? You know
I
what,
gotta
Bruce?
say this really quickly because we do a lot of great films up in Boston, and in Massachusetts, and among those, Don't Look Up was nominated. The Tender Bar was done up there. I had a scene with DiCaprio that got cut. I didn't have any lines. I was initially maybe going to get a line or two. It didn't work out. But I was sequestered for like 2 weeks just to do this scene with DiCaprio.
Wow.
So that was fun. I mean, I'm a huge fan of DiCaprio, and even just to be that close to him was a thrill to watch him working with Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
It's like being on stage with Eric Clapton, and even if you're in the chorus, you're still going, "That's Clapton right there,"
Well, I have to tell you, I've worked with Bruce. I'm looking forward to working with him again, and I'm looking forward to working with you, Stu.
We'll make that happen if we can. Yeah.
So
a lot of fun.
So I wanna ask you both if there's anything that you're working on now, or you're really concentrating on the film, The Family's Feud, and the premiere, and promoting and trying to stir up more excitement about it.
Well, that's what I'm about, because I'm a little more attached to it, having written it, and then I was involved in editing it and so on. And Bruce has been killing it outside of that. Like he's starring in a movie called Mob King.
Yes.
Which, and among other things, he's been involved with something with Adrian Brody that was recently aired that looked great. So he's got a lot of that going on, and I'm tending to this.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, something. I've got other things in my mind ready to go.
That's so cool. Bruce, I want to ask you, look, this is the first time, you've gotten involved in a full-length feature. You're usually in front of the camera acting, but you really believed in this so much and your passion behind it that you really wanted to get behind Stu and really just, hey, let's do this together. What was some of the challenges you had? Like, I know you had some sleepless nights and 20-hour days, but what really was involved with this, and would you ever do it again?
All right, that's actually a really good question. So yes, it's true. Typically, I prefer to just be an actor. I really enjoy my craft. I train, I study. I audition a lot, especially lately. What happened with Stu was I really believe in him. And when he brought me this project, the pages came alive, and I really enjoy my friendship with him. And I'm a big fan of his, like I said earlier. And for me, I just felt like it was an opportunity to help someone along the way. And I find these opportunities here and there. And I'm not saying like I'm a knight in white shining armor, but I find that good karma on my side when I do have opportunities where I have the ability and the resources to kind of help out. So this one was a tough one. It was really tough because not only were we in the height of the pandemic and no one was filming,
right.
So we weren't getting acting work as actors.
Yep.
And so it's bittersweet. In that moment, it made a lot of people available that might not normally be available to work with us.
Right.
So the challenge is we were the first green light SAG project in our region like I said, no one was filming. So what that meant was we were the guinea pigs. We had to jump through hoops, enormous hoops, to even get an approval.
Wow.
And it was very scary. It was, do we put this off? Do we, we filmed in New England. So if you know anything about New England, the fall is our premiere season. So
yes.
Stu's heart and soul was, we really want to showcase the foliage and the beauty of New England. And the scenes are set in Maine, which in the movie, but for the most part, it's New England. So
right.
And we were able to capture a lot of that beauty. But the challenge is, it wasn't just jumping through hoops for COVID and getting everyone tested. And we kind of just shot out of a cannon, like with, he came up with a short film that we probably could have swung from a tree like a monkey with a camera, because he will do it, because he's a sick person and he's very creative. He'll do what it takes to get the shot.
Yeah, sure.
So he wears many hats, as do I. So I think the challenges were to assemble a crew, a supportive crew that, was willing to come out and help, essentially an indie project. We're two guys that we weren't making any money. We were, I'm an entrepreneur and I own a bunch of businesses, and I was shut down completely for months. So there was no income flow. I was living off savings at the time. And same thing for Stu, man. It was a lot of passion involved, a lot of help from the community, a lot of even crafty. We had great food choices on set, but luckily I have a lot of friends in Rhode Island with great restaurants that, we plugged through the film, and a lot of special thank yous.
Yeah.
A lot of it was, I got to say though, a lot of magic happened, and not just the acting and the chemistry between actors, but we were able to really have some great locations, a lot of production assets that I feel very proud that, when I made a promise to Stu, hey man, I can't, I don't have $1 million and there's not a lot that I can't do, but the things that I can do, I'm going to jump through hoops. Like we had some really, really cool production assets, yachts and exotic cars and mansions and hot tubs and pools and social clubs and you name it. I mean, I don't want to give away too much. I just gave away all the movie, but a lot of the cool locations and those things that typically would be a challenge, we had that kind of, it requires a lot of favors, and I owe a lot of people a lot of dinners and thank you cards, and I'm plugging away, doing my due diligence. But ultimately, we had some really good friends that stepped up that helped us to secure the victory and get to the finish line. But I gotta say, Stu says all the time that he couldn't have done it without me, but I couldn't have done any of it without him. It was his vision, his story, his creative writing, and
it's a nice marriage. It was just a nice marriage of the two of you.
Just like a marriage, we butt heads sometimes, but him and I, we are very different people, but him and I share one thing. We have a passion for the craft. And when we hash things out, magic happens. And the beauty of the outcome is the proof's in the pudding. I mean, for an indie film, we have a lot to be proud of. For something that was created on a pencil and a pad in a backyard in Plymouth, Massachusetts, with a couple of phone calls, and it just snowballed from there. And here we are. It's not our film premiere in Boston. It's the Boston International Film Festival chose our film to showcase it in front of all their fans.
Amazing.
So to clarify, that's pretty cool. And never mind
very
all the
cool.
awards that
very, very cool. All right, listen, we're going to take my last break. So everyone stay where you are. We'll be right back with Bruce and Stu. Don't go away.
Still here.
So where do you want to go tonight?
Are you bored?
Oh my
Hold on tight. We're gonna coast this.
Teresa Farrow.
And who's the best actress you know?
Teresa Farrow.
And who's the best cast member in Bad Boys?
Teresa Farrow.
Who's got the best radio?
Teresa Farrow.
Stop. Who's your favorite Guinea?
Teresa Farrow.
Who are you loving right now?
Teresa Farrow.
All right, Chuck. I love you too, baby.
Love you as always.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody.
Those are great. I love those.
I love Doc. Doc is great. Doc moved. He lives on Long Island now.
Oh, nice.
I think he's in Glen Cove. I'm not sure. And he's going to come in studio. I have to get him in here. He did my show via Zoom. And hopefully I'm going to get him in here. Love him, love him, love him. He's a dog.
I gotta say, I'm a long time Mets fan. I mean,
are you really?
Well, I've had to convert to the Sox over like decades. But when I was growing up, the '69 Mets, I was just a kid.
Yeah.
I was like, and then Willie Mays came to town in '72, I think it was.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was my favorite player. So I was on the Mets yearbook cover one year. Cool.
I have a Mets yearbook, I think from 77 or something, and it has it's I don't know, it was like $1 back
when everything was reasonable.
Listen, we have about 3 minutes left. This goes so fast. First of all, I want you to know that either one of you, if you're ever in New York, I'd love to have you next to me next time. And if you have anything to promote, pitch, talk about, open invite to come back on. I want everyone to know that they can find Bruce on Insta. It's actor Bruce Socia, Soscia on Insta. And as far as Stu goes, it's The Family's Feud on Insta. And you can also go to thefamiliesfeud.com. That's where you can rewatch the trailer. You can see what's going on. You can look into the Boston premiere. That's April 14th. I'm so excited for both of you. I'm blessed that God put you in my path. Both of you. I'm excited that I was able to see the private screening. And I'm just so excited to see what else you guys have coming up next in your careers.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Teresa. We had a blast. It was good seeing Bruce. And obviously it was wonderful being here. I feel like, seeing all the people who've been on your show, I'm like, what are they having me on for? It was fun.
You're a star. You're a big star, buddy.
I'm glad we finally made this connection. And Stu, I'll be honest with you, I appreciate the improv background because I love improv. I do improv. I did something with a friend of mine that I know you're going to get a kick out of. I'll send it to you and you'll laugh out loud. And the whole thing was all improv. I mean, the whole thing was improv and we had a blast. And sometimes that's when your best work comes out, is just when you let people run loose and say, here you go. Just here's the premise. Just do what you want with it and see what happens. And, you film, shoot. And, and there are some diamond moments in there.
That's a lot of our film was improv where we just let some of the leads go and they gave us the goods, So
yeah. Well, I love when John answers the phone. He goes, speak. I mean, I just crack up when I hear him say it and the way he says it.
He's great. He's amazing. We're really lucky to have John. So John, he spent a lot of time in New York with his acting career, but he ultimately transplanted to New England and kind of far up north. He's like in New Hampshire.
Yes.
But we're very lucky that we have access to him and that he did our film because he's probably, I think Stu would agree with me, he's probably one of the most talented actors I've ever worked with. And I've worked with him several times and he's down to earth. He's really funny. He's a great improv guy. He literally breathes life into the character. And I had a hard time holding in my laughter behind the camera a lot of times between Stu and John and all the other guys. I mean, there was so many moments where, somebody just left.
I'm sure. I want to see, Stu, I want to see a blooper reel. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, we got a few good outtakes. We may weave those into our end credits. Sometime.
Yeah. Well, listen, I have to go. And I just want to say I love both of you. I want to thank both of you for doing this for me, giving me the exclusive first interview and seeing the private screening. I had a blast. Again, everyone, thefamiliesfeud.com. Look for it. Go to the website, watch the trailer. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, supporting Tea Time, loving on me. I'm blessed. I truly am. So ciao, everybody. See you next week.
Thanks, Teresa. Tea time.
Thank you.
Good times.